What's up guys, my name is Jay Shaffer and I'm going to be doing an in-depth review of Tensor Magnesium Trucks. Before I even get into this review, I want everyone to know out there that any review that anybody ever does is more often than not opinion based. If you're somebody out there who prefers or doesn't prefer Tensor trucks and your opinion is completely opposed to mine, don't try to say my review is bad. I'm just giving everybody out there my overall opinion on these trucks to help benefit those people who are watching as of right now. To start this review, I'm gonna give a 1 out of 10 rating, and then I'm gonna state why I gave it that rating, saying the goods and bads about these trucks. 1 out of 10, probably 1. Piece of shit. Sorry, but I'm gonna be completely honest here. This is the worst pair of trucks that I've ever rode in my whole career of skating. I've skated a little over 5 years now, and I've skated a wide variety of trucks. I've skated Crux, Ventures, Destructos, Thunders, Tensors, Independents, Ventures. I've skated a lot of different trucks basically, and this is not my current pair of trucks. This was my pair of trucks that I was riding before the Independents that I have now. The reason why I went with these is because I am a skater who focuses more often on the weight of my skateboard, opposed to a lot of different people who like a board that turns or likes a board that grinds, anything like that. I'm solely focused on the weight of my board, which I've kind of gotten past that after a little while, but I wanted a really light pair of trucks basically, and I found out that these Tensor Magnesiums were supposed to be the lightest truck out there, and that might be the only good thing about these trucks. They are in fact probably the lightest pair of trucks that I've ever skated before in the last 5 years I've ever skated, and they're definitely probably one of the few really light trucks out there right now. I don't know if there's any lighter. Crux might have some lighter pairs, I'm not sure, but this is definitely the lightest pair that I've ever owned. But in my opinion, that is the only good thing about these trucks. Let's start talking about the bad things. When I first got these trucks, they looked great, they were light, I was so excited to put them on my board. So as soon as I got them out of the box, I got it with a complete skateboard setup that I got, and I put it together and I went out and skated. And I realized that my trucks were not turning the proper way they were supposed to. And I don't know if any of you out there have ever heard of tensor lean. Basically, the myth of tensor lean is with Tensor trucks, the bushings and the trucks are just so terrible that whenever you try to turn on a truck, your board like locks in that position and you cannot get it back no matter what you do. Obviously that's somewhat true for a new pair of trucks under any brand, so I assumed I would just break them in. I gave them about a week and it continued happening. So from my perspective, I can confirm tensor lean is not a myth, it is a fact. What happened was I could not stand the bushings anymore, and I wasn't about to get a new pair of trucks right away because I had just gotten them. They were like 55 bucks for the pair, and I was like, I wasn't gonna waste my money like that. So what I did was I switched out the bushings and I put in a pair of bushings from my old Ventures. But what I came to realize after I switched the bushings out was that the bushings were not correct, I'll say. As a skateboarder, the two top bushings, these two top bushings right here, are supposed to be the same size. And these two bottom bushings right here are supposed to be the same size. So you have two different sizes of bushings with 4 total bushings basically. And when I took my bushings out, this is what I found. Tell me that's not ridiculous. I did all the research in the world that I could possibly do, trying to find if there was some kind of new trend that Tensor was trying to start, with maybe there's a designated front truck and a designated back truck. Maybe your front truck was supposed to have a smaller top bushing or anything like that at all. Nothing came up like that. Nothing at all. I don't even know if this is heard of, but it's either a defect or Tensor just did not put any consideration into their bushings, and it really upset me. I was not happy to see that at all, which obviously it didn't affect me too much because I was switching out my bushings anyway, but still, it's not something a skateboarder wants to see after they spent a lot of money on what they thought was going to be a good pair of trucks. But after I switched out my bushings, I started skating them and I realized they were okay. They were turning okay and everything. They were grinding, they were doing what trucks were basically supposed to do. But what I did realize was that more often than not, I would get wheel bite. And by the way, if you don't know what wheel bite is, it's basically whenever you're turning so sharp or you land with so much pressure on one side of your board that your wheel actually touches the underside of your board, and it makes you stop or stutter on your board a little bit. It happens to all skateboarders. But this was happening to me a good 20 plus times a session, and that's a little overboard. And I figured, okay, I'm not using risers and I have lows. These are low trucks, Tensor Magnesium lows. The thing is, I always rode lows. I think I rode standards one time before these, but I was getting wheel bite an excessive amount, and it was really irritating me. And I realized my turning abilities were so limited because of the wheel bite. Wheel bite is usually something you get whenever you land, like going down a stair set or coming off a ledge too hard and you're just leaning one way trying to hold on to your trick and you wheel bite. It happens. But it usually doesn't happen whenever you try to carve around a quarter pipe or around a bank at a skate park. And I couldn't even do that. I actually had to tic-tac around those. And it made maintaining my speed ridiculously difficult. Wheel bite pretty much was inevitable with these trucks, and it irritated me beyond compare. The last thing I really have to say about these trucks is the fact that their consistency lacks incredibly. I mean, there's wear all around the kingpin right here. Right here where I do feebles, it's worn down to almost nothing at this point. And you usually see this on trucks you've been skating for well over a year, maybe even 2 years. This was not even a year, and I was incredibly disappointed with how quickly that they were wearing down. Like I said before, the only good thing about these trucks that I found was that they were, in fact, light. Tensor promised that the Magnesium trucks would be one of the lightest pairs of trucks out there, and they were right. But you look back at it and they don't promise anything about being able to turn correctly or having proper bushings in that matter. And overall, these trucks were just a waste of like 55 to 60 bucks. And I'm really upset with the way that Tensor produced these trucks. I'm not exactly sure if the other Tensors are this bad, especially if this was the most expensive pair of Tensors that there was. I don't even want to know what the other Tensors were like, so I would never buy them again, and I would never buy anything from Tensor ever again, and I don't even understand the problem with the bushings. I have nothing more to say about that. But anyways, guys, that's my review on the Tensor Magnesium trucks. I will be doing more reviews in the future, and I also make weekly skateboarding videos as well as randomness, tutorials, and anything else I come up with. I upload twice a week, so if you want to see more, subscribe, like my videos, and share them. It'll really help me out, and I'll see you in the future. Thanks for watching, guys.